Hey Aaron and Noah, this is Adrian Gomez with 212 Athlete. Thanks for sending these videos in. I'm excited to take a look at them. So here we go. So right out of the gate, as far as the back leg squat, we're down into 119 degrees. And what happens is, the lower you can squat, the more your knee is going to drive inside. It's a lot easier to explode out of the inside. But I want to let you know why that's happening. And I think the reason behind it is this foot. The foot is still pointing away, and also the knee is, pointing this way as well. So what I'd like to do is, if we can, get you to really push your toe inside and your ankle outside your toe, your knee inside, and that way you can squat better, get into that squatting position, because we're not able to squat out of here just because the knee's in a bad place to be able to facilitate that squat. So that's going to be a big one. That's where all of the energy starts. And you can see early on your leg comes off the ground, which doesn't allow you to continue to push your hips through. So that back foot in that back leg squat is going to be a huge one. I would definitely work on that for sure. So the next mechanical work that we're going to look at is how your back leg or your front leg moves and before your hips can rotate through. And we're talking about 16 degrees. What's happening is, when you plant your foot on the ground, your knee is still inside your ankle, and it takes a little bit for you to move left for your hips to come through. Now your hips want to rotate through, but that should be very soon after you plant. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that front knee is planted early, right over that ankle. We want to get there early. And we're just not doing that, and so that's really affecting your power. So external rotation is definitely something that you're going to work on, is planting your knee over your front leg, and this plays into the front, this move as well. So this leads us into the stride angle, and your front knee angle as well. So taking angle off the bat from knee to knee, you're at about 112, which is good. This is where we want to be. We want to be above 110 degrees. And when that happens, and you can see how your knee moves, it's kind of, foot's moving a little bit. I think that's probably has a lot to do with it. But 112 is great, but what you can see is this back leg comes forward, and that's not, you kind of collapse. And so that's going to have some repercussions with your upper body, and that's going to affect where the ball releases from, the stress on your shoulder, a lot of that. So we want to make sure that this back leg kind of stays connected, and that's going to be your counterweight so that your upper body can rotate forward. And we'll see that in the upper body weaknesses. So stride angle 112, which is great. We want you to keep extending, but we still want your foot to keep driving. And that we've already talked about where that foot is placed, the knees inside, all of that stuff. So when you plant actually, most of your energy is coming out of your front knee, about 109 degrees. And so what we want to do is not land so bent over. What happens is all that energy is going through that knee, and it's going straight into the ground. And because the energy is escaping out your knee, now your upper body, it's taking away from your upper body. So the majority of that energy is lost from the front knee. So that leads us into So that front knee, I think lower body wise, I think if you work on from the lower half to the upper half, really you're going to have some huge advantages. So let's look at your posture at ball release. Release point. So because that knee there's so much energy going out that front knee and a lot of energy escaping from that back leg, your chest is forcing itself to come up in this direction instead of just driving straight through to the catcher. So I would say your posture is what we call a B posture. This would be an A posture. This would be a B posture. This would be a C posture. So you're at a B posture. What that means is when you come all the way back, you want to stay in this position as long as you can. So as you drive through it, you have a big kind of a head movement to the left. Instead of having that head movement, what we want to do is, as you get here, we want you to start back just a tad. So now, if you started back in that position, watch what would happen to your head movement. It'd be minimized. We're talking about 3 or 4 inches to the left, as opposed to straight up and down. We're talking 4 or 5, maybe 6 inches to the left. So that's the difference. We want to really minimize that stuff. And that's going to help your command as well. And the better you get at getting your lower half in, the better your command gets, the more power you have coming out of your arm, and less going out of your legs. We want to use our legs to really drive. So we get into this. This knee should be coming back 109. That should be about 145. So this is what 145 looks like. Let's see here. That's about 140. So what we want to do is get this knee back and rotate this chest forward, straighten that leg, and that's how we're really going to get you on top of the ball. And you'll see, which brings us to the next one, our launch. Our launch is going to be really important, and you're throwing the ball behind your foot. And what that does is it puts a ton of stress on that shoulder right here. And so if you're releasing that ball consistently over that foot, it's just a moment of time when your arm's going to get tired and it'll eventually break down if we're not doing all the preventative measures. So you're going to feel so much better when we start working on this stuff. And we're just really grateful to be a part of your baseball career. So now let's look on the upper body. So upper body, as far as release point, we are at that foot. Behind that foot is what we call a early release, and we want to make sure it's further out past your front foot. There's some reasons behind why that happens. A lot of it has to do with how you start. So just, again, getting that knee inside, and it's what we call a stack. So your upper body is actually coming back, but your knee is not going in. So if you can get this knee indented in here inside, your upper body is actually pretty good. So that's a good stack. You can see right there, even your chest is going down, and what we want to do is get your upper body back. So start stacking, basically keep this head directly over that rubber as long as possible. Head comes up, or leg comes up, and I want this head to stay over that rubber as long as possible. Butt's going to go, knees inside, and then everything flies through. So there's a lot of drills that you can work on with for a release point for your launch. There are, everything's categorized in there. So that's awesome. So let's look at chest extension. So now that's stacking. We need to stack better, stacking. And that's just getting your knee inside and your upper body back. Okay? So as you do that, we get into this position. Let's actually look at your front glove. Your front glove drops straight down. You can see it come up. Good front glove there. Looks good. Everything's right there. And then it drops, sweeps down here. When it sweeps down there, your arm's going to want to rotate up. So it's equal opposite. So if I can make sure that instead of coming down, I'm actually rotating this way towards my shoulder blade, and I'm pinching my shoulder blade just like you're pinching right here. You're pinching really, really, really well. That front glove needs to pinch as well. So you could do a better job of that, and there's a lot of drills in there to work on that. Front glove, just really pinching. Okay, so bring awareness to that front glove. Don't let it just drop, and that's going to give you that power to get through and release the ball out in here where we need to be. So front glove definitely needs to be pinched at the right time, and this leads us into chest extension. So at release point, even if I'm here, that's you've already released the ball, but let's measure it off of this. I think it's smaller than this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement off of your back hip. Right here. Sorry. About 19 degrees. And what's happening is your chest is falling so much off this way. Here. You're falling out of here because of the back leg, your front knee. Those things are affecting your upper body. So if we fix the lower body, we're going to start fixing the upper body as well. But you can see that chest extension at 19 degrees. That chest extension needs to get out to here, 47 degrees. So if we can close that gap with your chest and get out in front, knee actually comes back, back leg straight, that's what's going to really push that ball past that front foot, and you're just going to absolutely drive and throw the crap out of the ball. I will say, as you continue to do these drills, it's just going to, please look at the drills, go back to them, go back and look at the drill and see if you can, see if it looks the same, and don't hesitate to send me stuff. But I really think that you have the ability to throw hard. We just got to work on those specific weaknesses. Now, I'm not saying that all this stuff that you're not good. What I'm saying is, if you fix this stuff, this is what's going to make you better than everybody else. And that's the difference at 212 Athlete and other pitching places. Is we see the potential that you could become. We're not just teaching to you now. So these are some changes that, if made, could make a huge impact. Let's look at a high elbow. This is a big one for elbows. I'm just going to measure straight off of my shoulders out to my elbow. You're about 181 degrees. Let's look at this, which is not bad. Let's measure this as well. About 170. So elbow's a little bit low, and the reason why the elbow's a little bit low there is because when you're driving, you're only at 19 degrees chest extension, which means you're putting a lot of stress in your shoulder that's not necessarily needed. So 24 needs to go up to 48. If we can go up 24 degrees and get rotated forward knee comes back, back leg stays straight. This elbow is not going to be low. You're going to drive your chest so fast that your elbow is going to stay at your shoulder level. So that'll improve. Shoulder's going to feel a lot better as well. But that's something that, caution, you need to watch out for. The better you can rotate your chest, the better you're going to get out in front past your front foot, and your arm's going to feel a hell of a lot better. So last thing we're going to talk about is the arm fly out. So arm fly out, because you're not continuing to rotate your chest, your arm actually doesn't do a bad job. It's pretty good. So we want this elbow or this wrist to stay somewhere on top of the elbow. We're in a pretty safe range right here, and that's where you're at, which is great. It's going to get even better as you rotate this chest through and get across your body. Basically, this chest right here is going to get over that front foot, and that's going to push that release point further and further and further out to where you're going to get more comfortable. Velo's going to be there. Arm's going to feel a lot better. So thanks so much for tuning in, man. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited to work with you. And let me know if you need anything. We'll talk to you soon.